It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Oh, let's review.
We'll analyze the scene.
Sounds holly jolly to me.
Before it's over, let's begin.
Bum.
Bum.
That's right, folks. Since the Christmas season is upon us, we thought the way to celebrate and get into the holiday spirit would be with some holiday reviews.
12 to be exact, decoratively divided into 4 categories for your Yuletide pleasure.
So, without further ado, silver up those bells, light the multicolored lights, and go out and build a snowman, and join us as we get into some seasonal shenanigans. And tonight, we are unwrapping the first video game that we're talking about in seasonal shenanigans history, Batman Arkham Origins.
Yeah.
Dragon, I believe this is the first in the I Can't Believe It's Christmas category. Am I correct?
Yes, because we had a lot of fun with the I Can't Believe It's Christmas category before, which oddly enough, we also talked about a Batman-related thing around the holidays last time with Batman Returns.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So, Dragon, Batman Arkham Origins, it is the third Batman Arkham game. It's more of a side game, right? It wasn't even developed by the same studio, from my understanding.
Yeah, and there were more plans to do more games like this and explore this world, but honestly, I don't know if it was just the numbers didn't show or what. I think it was just honestly, Arkham Knight just kind of set kind of a standard, like, yeah, we're done.
To me, from everything I've heard about Arkham Origins, the story is very satisfying. The gameplay is... It's not so much that the gameplay is bad, it's just that it doesn't really add anything new to the table. Whereas, whereas Arkham Asylum kind of set the foreground, and then, of course, Arkham City, gave it the more open world element to it. This is more so just like, all right, we're running around, we're punching some guys, and we're running around and we're punching some guys.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the context, kind of the story behind this one is that, after Arkham City comes out, of course, there are big shoes to fill after Arkham City. Of course, Paul Dini's, Paul Dini wrote Arkham Asylum, he wrote Arkham City, and Arkham City has a lot of historic, a lot of big things happening, especially with Joker in that story. And there's a lot of anticipation for what the next Arkham game is going to be, but the fact of the matter is they need time to develop Arkham Knight, and they need kind of a placeholder in the meantime. And of course, there's a note of finality with the Joker. So, and Mark Hamill kind of at the time there were rumors of Mark Hamill's retirement, that he might not even come back. He just kind of gave a definitive Joker.
I remember that, yeah, and that was before he did Killing Joke too.
That's the thing. So again, he didn't even know if Killing Joke was ever going to be on the table. So there's a lot of kind of a dry spell of Mark Hamill. So the point is, we want another Arkham game. It's not coming soon enough, and they have kind of a side division with Warner Brothers Montreal working on a tie-in game which is Arkham Origins. Now, essentially, this is in the continuity of the Arkham universe. That's the thing. This is designed to fit the Arkham continuity, as well as the animated film that Tiki and I really enjoyed. Assault on Arkham. That is also, again, that ties in. I mean, it follows all the continuity. All 4 of those things, all 4 games and that movie are all in the same continuity. And basically, it's on the whole, this is a prequel in the Die Hard style. An event around Christmas time. It's an early Batman story. Specifically, this is year 2 in Batman's career. This is
I just love how this game kind of takes the concept of like was the night before Christmas and just ramps it up to the extreme.
Absolutely, and again, it doesn't hold people over till Arkham Knight. I remember I got the because I get it for all the Arkham games. I got the fancy box set. And, it has like a lot of cool little trinkets. You get like kind of a little statue, and you get I get like crime scene bags like Killer Croc's tooth in like a bag. It's really it's a lot of fun, really well marketed. So I remember getting the game, being really hyped for it. It came out in October instead of December, but it was. It was a lot of fun playing through it, and again, kept up the consistent quality of the Arkham games, and we'll get more specifics to that as we go on, but, it held up to the standard for me.
Now, Dragon, just really quick for me with my experience with the Arkham games, I, to this day, have yet to own a PS3 or an Xbox One or an Xbox 360 or a PS4. I am getting a Switch for Christmas, which I am super excited about. Oh, I'm jumping off the walls over that, Dragon. I'm like a little kid. But, suffice to say, folks, I kind of phased out of the non-Nintendo video games, mostly. But Arkham is definitely one of those series, Dragon, where it was interesting. It's kind of like BioShock for me, where I was interested enough in the premise of Arkham Asylum in particular to, you know, watch like all the gameplay, all the Let's Plays and everything. I was really into Arkham Asylum. I love, to this day, I think Arkham Asylum is just an incredibly well-designed video game. And honestly, I gotta say, I'm not sure how it actually plays, you know, but I think just presentation-wise, Arkham Asylum has never been topped. Just because I love the way that that game just incorporates like all these different elements into it within one setting. Just that one setting, that, you know, that claustrophobic element of Arkham Asylum to me just really, really works. And then of course Arkham City is great in its own right. That's a wonderful Hugo Strange story. Dragon, Arkham City is actually kind of like my introductory point into Hugo Strange. I don't know if you knew that.
No, I didn't really know that. No.
Yeah, that was kind of like my big sort of like, oh, okay, now I really get who this Hugo Strange person is. You know, because before I'd kind of heard his name, you know, but sort of knew he was kind of like a mad scientist guy, you know, that was about it. But, you know, but Arkham City was really kind of like my big first, you know, like Hugo Strange-centric story that I experienced. And Arkham Knight, Dragon, I feel like the storyline for Arkham Knight, perhaps a step below Arkham Origins and Arkham City, or I'm Arkham Asylum, Arkham City. But that being said, I've heard that the gameplay for Arkham Knight is fantastic, so I don't know how that equals out. Again, it's a weird disconnect for me because I'm basically just watching the cutscenes. But yeah, Arkham Origins. This is actually the first time I've seen the Arkham Origins stuff because the game itself didn't really get a lot of hype behind its release. I knew it was a different studio, so I never really bothered with it. But Dragon, I gotta say, like I said, while I can see how people might be frustrated with it from a gameplay point of view, because it does seem like a bit of a step down gameplay-wise from the previous two, I think story-wise, this really does hold up. It's like a good sort of like dark, twisted Batman around the Christmas time story. So I'm sorry, go ahead. I kind of derailed your whole background.
Well, anyway, I mean, I kind of went through the background already, but for me, I guess just my experience with the Arkham games as a whole is that, you know, the Arkham games, you know, I've had a blast, and I've kind of I'm an Arkham veteran. You know, I've been there since the beginning. I've gone in there. I'm just trying to think how to approach it there, because I mean, well, the kind of funny thing with the Arkham games for me is that I always had kind of the forced to upgrade video gamer experience. I'm not a big game,
Right,
gamer
right.
per se, but you know, basically, I remember when Arkham Asylum came out, I was like, oh man, I have to play that Batman. Because I had a PlayStation 2 at the time. It's like, but it's on PlayStation 3. Ah man, I got to upgrade. I had to upgrade for that, and of course,
Dragon, that's my experience with Mario Odyssey. I'm like, you know what? I can't not play that game. Anyways,
the point is, I'm firmly into the games, and I'm getting like the box sets because I'm super into like, oh my god, it's Paul Dini back in the cell, you know, Kevin Conroy, and Mark Hamill. Oh boy, it's kind of like, you know, it's the PG-13 Batman animated series. Oh goody, so I'm having a good time with them. And then of course, then Arkham Knight comes out, and it's like PlayStation 4 again. 2009 or 10? Oh, I think it was 9. 2009. Oh, darn it. But anyway, so then of course that game, that was again, that was another experience. It was another like, oh my god, the animation looks great, the rendering at PlayStation 4. And honestly, I love that there's a learning curve with all the games. Basically, you can see the progression from Arkham Asylum to, again, Arkham Origins being the third one. That they're kind of going more and more open world, and more with the rendering, even though it was by a different studio.
Mm-hmm.
And basically kind of took kind of the spit and polish on that with the kind of the Rocksteady crew, and then of course gets you to Arkham Knight, which on the whole, you know, the story is not as squeaky clean as it definitely feels like it would have been better as a Dini work, but I mean, it's you know, it's satisfying, and of course, if you've seen certain Batman stories or certain animated movies, you probably might be a little disillusioned with Arkham Knight, but on the whole, though, it still looks good, and I think it's a decent ending. And they finally got like a really good Gordon actor by the time of of Arkham Knight, because you have Jonathan Banks in the role at that point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, the Arkham has always been just kind of a fun experience. It's always a great way of kind of like the new. Again, it did serve as the new animated series for the new generation. That's the biggest kind of compliment I could pay the Arkham games. It got support to Batman. It was a really good representation of the comics and kind of the 78-year-old.
And also, it's like, it's not just one of the best Batman video games ever made. It's arguably the greatest video game franchise based on a superhero ever.
Sure, sure. At the same time, though, it's also a great barometer to kind of, honestly, I thought it was always kind of a good kind of building blocks for what you would kind of base a Batman in the movies off of, honestly. It's a good kind of barometer of kind of what to aim for, and I still think that really holds true, especially
Dragon, I
after.
really think if Matt Reeves just directed Batman Arkham Asylum, that would just be like the best freaking movie.
Tiki, I know I'm not the first guy to bring it up. I remember to you with the whole the way the post credit scene of Justice League went down. I kind of said basically use that as your explanation for why we'd go to Arkham, and we basically just do Arkham Asylum, the video game.
Exactly, right.
Again, the marriage made in heaven. It's what everyone knows. It's easily recognized, and again, kind of Batman in the gray suit in action. So yeah, the point is, there's
it would be the best video game movie ever made.
Certainly, and also just on the whole, there's a lot of love for the Arkham games because they're really well done. They're really true to Batman. They're also it's Batman kind of put in a grittier world with kind of a throwback to kind of the best eras of Batman. So a lot of good stuff with the Arkham.
It's grittier Batman, but it's grittier Batman without like the hyper realism of Nolan. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's a great balance, honestly. It's like right in the middle between Nolan and between kind of the Snyder in a way. It's like we have like the comic realization of Snyder, but we also have kind of the depth and character of the Nolan stuff. But it's like it just feels like comics Batman, but in a like an almost live action setting.
Sure.
So yeah, it's like right in the middle, like right in a sweet spot in the middle. That's kind of if I ever had to boil it down, the Arkham is just the sweet spot. It's like a sweet spot of Batman right next to the animated series.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Dragon, why don't you sum up the plot? It was the night before Christmas, and
so the game is set 5 years. This game is set 5 years pre Arkham Asylum. It's 5 years before the first Arkham game. It's the second year of Batman's career. It's Christmas Eve, and it's very much kind of a year or two long Halloween, early Batman era. Basically, Batman. At this point he's a vigilante taking on mobsters and bosses. And some and we're in that long Halloween kind of feel. We're in that long Halloween setting where the freaks are starting to slowly emerge in Gotham. That's really where we're at right now. And Black Mask, who's kind of representation of the mob escalating to the super freak category. Mm-hmm. Black Mask, he has put a $50 million bounty on Batman's head on Christmas Eve. He reaches out to eight killers and assassins in the Batman universe. Batman dead by Christmas because he's tired of meddling in his affairs and foiling him all the live long day. So Batman deals with. He's dealing with this bounty, and there's all in one night, folks. He's dealing with this bounty. He's dealing with corrupt cops gunning for him for the bounty, and he's dealing also with the emergence of the Jokers. That's another big takeaway from this story is that not only is it Arkham Origins, it's the origin of Arkham Asylum, which I thought was a really nice kind of thing in there, but it's also the emergence of kind of the yang to Batman's yin, Joker, in the Arkham universe.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing, it sets up the Joker and Batman dynamic really well. It sets up the Gordon and Batman dynamic really well. It sets up the Joker and Harley dynamic really well. It really is it's like I said, in terms of gameplay, I could see how it'd be disappointing, but just as a story, Dragon, it's near perfect for me.
And it's Batman is again. With Batman, Batman tries going alone early in his career here, but he realizes as the game goes on, he realizes the value in Alfred and Gordon and kind of seeking outside help, and of course ultimately leads to a big showdown at Blackgate with the Joker and the most dangerous assassin gunning for Batman, Bane. And all before Christmas. That's the game.
All right, so Dragon, let's get into some characters, starting with a big Batman himself.
Let's start. So Roger Craig Smith, also known for voicing Sonic the Hedgehog, he does the voice of Batman in this game.
And that's no good.
What?
Or that's a famous Sonic line.
Right. So it's really cool here. Honestly, that's the thing with the whole this. I think this game overall, it feels like a great prequel. And that I like that we kind of get around not having Kevin Conroy or Mark Hamill by having characters that sound like them, like younger versions of them. So I think Roger Craig Smith embodies that best of all of them. That he does sound very much like I could buy him as a young Kevin Conroy, as kind of the iconic Batman voice you know in your head, as a younger version of that.
Right, and of course, the main crux of this Batman is the fact that he's young. He's sort of, he's sort of restless. He doesn't trust authority at all. He's kind of making reckless decisions as the game goes on.
He is a little, and this is interesting. He's a little cocky because he's a year into the job. He's kind of he can deal with mobsters and punks like all the live long day. And but again, like this is the kind of the emergence of the super criminal. Like these are like kind of super villains, guys who are coming out because they were targeting bad, and these are guys who actually have a chance of kind of.
With that in mind, Dragon, I thought that the opening sequence with Killer Croc was a pretty ingenious way to go about that.
Yeah, like these are guys that are kind of.
Killer Croc is always like I believe Killer Croc was the first boss in the game, right? In the original, yes. Or one of them.
Well, I mean, he was a big boss in the Arkham in the first Arkham game. He was basically they played him like Jaws. He was Jaws who could walk.
Okay. So I like Killer Croc to me. It's almost kind of like that thing where it's like we always, of course, we got the Rhino in an opening scene and it kind of sucked. But I digress. Like Killer Croc is one of those villains where it's like he's not someone who could really carry a film, but he could make a damn good opening fight scene.
He is distinctly Arkham. Again, like that's the thing with Killer Croc that we've established for a generation of what Killer Croc is. He's the sword-dwelling giant monster guy you're going to be running the other way from.
Right.
And let's see. So I mean, it's like Batman dealing with these things that are actually going to give him a run for his money. And he's kind of unprepared for. I mean, again, he thinks he has a good handle over this, and again, he's just kind of. And this is what Alfred. I'm sorry, we'll get to Alfred momentarily. I'm jumping the gun here, but. I love that we have the noir detective vibe all throughout this with this interpretation of Batman. We're really hammering that in because we got a lot of great detective vision. We got a lot of great kind of like Batman going to the scenes, piecing them together, and the noir vibe I think really comes from he's just fed. It's a Batman who's fed up with corruption and letting he's getting in over his head with these villains.
Yeah, and like I said, I really like how throughout the game it's almost like kind of like a humbling experience for him. You know what I mean? It's sort of like essentially it isn't the first time he's dealt with the Joker, but it is the first time that the Joker has essentially pulled something that equates to like urban terrorism. You know what I mean?
Yeah, again, he's basically dealing with a Hans Gruber level Joker in this game. He very much is, and again, like a guy who's just he's holding all the cards, he's holding all the control, and Batman throughout this game.
Pretty much like the Dark Knight interpretation of the Joker.
Sure. I'm just saying, kind of equating to the whole Die Hard context of it all.
No, you're right. Yeah, for sure.
And that's the thing. So this is a Batman who early in his career, like second year on the job, he's donning the costume, and he thinks he can win this war, and. He thinks he can win this war as the game goes on. It gets to a point after he almost loses Alfred. He's questioning, he's asking himself if he can handle this. He's doubting his abilities. He's hypercritical of his failings. The people who are dying around him, like, can I handle this? Is all this worth it? Like, can I uphold what I thought I could do before? Which I thought was kind of an interesting kind of early Batman story. And also, with all the early Batman stuff, one of my favorite things, and this I love to see applied to the movies as well. I love the prototype look, because if you notice, Tiki, of course, this suit that Batman's wearing is different than what we see in the Arkham games, because the idea is like the stuff that he's like kind of smuggled out from Wayne Enterprises. This is like very rudimentary Wayne tech that's not really Bat themed. He just basically put a Bat symbol on the chest plate. You can see, I mean, even the image before it, you can see like kind of the straps and kind of the straps and clips and everything. They're kind of holding this pache of kind of like survival technology together.
Yeah, for sure.
So I love that. I love this how vulnerable that makes Batman look in this early story. Like he's just put together. It's like he's fresh. He's put together. He's just the guy putting on a suit and just kind of taking on the world.
Yeah, and like we keep saying, the game has a great sort of progression that kind of strips him of his cockiness.
Sure. I mean, of course, that costume, and this is something that all the Arkham games have. Is the cool armored costume he has at the beginning always gets damaged and scratched up, and like cape gets torn to shreds. Is like, oh god, it shows you like a night of all heck breaking loose.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I believe that's a consistent thing with the Arkham games too, right, Dragon? Is that they all take place over one night?
Yes. That's. I'm trying to think if Arkham Knight fits that. Yeah, they all take place.
I gotta say, that's an impressive storytelling feat. They
always have a timeline. Like I think, if anything, Arkham City might just. They say it takes place over 10 hours. So I mean, basically, the idea is that's kind of within It is one night. They're all one night, and Arkham Knight that's the one that just kind of happens to take place over a night where it feels like, we're just
Right.
basically we're trying to be consistent with that one. It's like, it doesn't really need to take place over one night.
I hear you.
Yeah, the other ones have more of a 24-hour vibe, and that's always kind of a neat kind of ticking clock you have established. So,
All right, so let's get on to Alfred.
Yeah, so Alfred. So again, this night of assassins and crazy.
I mean, this just goes to prove our theory, folks. That it's impossible to write a bad Alfred.
Yeah, I mean, Alfred was, Alfred was an element to my recollection. Alfred wasn't introduced till Arkham City. Oracle was the Alfred figure in the Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So at this point in time, you just have Arkham City where he's the voice on the intercom. This is the first time we actually have Alfred embodied. Honestly, in all the games, this is the first time Alfred's really embodied in the game.
And I gotta say, it's a fantastic, proper introduction to him, don't you think?
Sure. I love the idea that, a year into it, Alfred, he is in this Night of Assassins and Crazies. This isn't what he signed on for. He bought into the mission. It's just where he knows that Bruce can take care of himself. This is the point where this is all the uncertainties entering the fray here. Oh my God, no, he's going to get literally 50 for a price tag of $50 million. Every psychopath in Gotham, even a lot of them export, are trying to kill my surrogate son here. It's freaking me out.
Right. And Dragon, what's great about Alfred at the heart of it, that kind of gets down to the animated series quality, is he just wants to have Christmas dinner.
Yep.
That's all he wants, Dragon. That is all Alfred wants. I love that about it.
An element I really love with Alfred. I love that Alfred, and this is why I really respect this game all the live long day for it. I don't know why I keep saying all the live long day. I'm sorry. I'm running out of adjectives. My point is, something I really respect this game for is how Alfred encourages Batman not to take on a young ward or anything, but I like just encouraging to reach out to the help available, as in Jim Gordon. I love these just out of all the. I like how localized and how small it is this early on. It's like you can't really reach out to a lot of help. It's Alfred and Jim Gordon. That's the Bat family at this point. I love how small.
Right.
Again, I love
but it's a great prequel in that way, though, because it's small, but you could see the seeds of something larger starting to build off that.
I mean, I forget if Lucius Fox is even mentioned in this game, but
I don't think he is, at least in the cutscenes I saw.
Well, even assuming, the point is, if he's there, he's very minimal unless he's referenced. I'm saying, the point is there might be a suggestion of Lucius Fox. The point is he's really not in the game, so it's Alfred and Gordon. So, he's. Alfred's just it's after a near-death experience with Alfred. I love that we do kind of have this realization that he realizes that.
Do you want me to run through my experience with that moment now, or when we get to your take on it?
Well, do you mean the big moment itself? You mean the aftermath?
I mean kind of the big moment.
Well, let's not go over the big moment quite.
Okay.
We'll get there. Well, let's just say I love the realization. I love Alfred's arc. His realization is that it's his job to make sure Bruce doesn't add himself to the weight. To make sure that Bruce is safe, to make sure Bruce can handle this. So it's Alfred's job to make sure that he can, even if Bruce doesn't want to hear it. So basically, despite Alfred protesting and being really, he's just trying to talk Bruce out of this thing. So you're a rich boy with a trust fund and anger issues.
All right, so let's move on to your favorite.
Yes, good old Captain James Gordon. So he's captain in the story, very much like Long Halloween. Again, we're kind of blending some elements there. Of course, it's not.
You're right. We kind of are. I think that's clever, though, Dragon. I like that we're blending elements of it, especially because it's a holiday story.
Sure. I do have one I do have one major, not major, it's one really irritating nitpick, but we'll get there when we get to the naughty of it all. But anyway, but I really like that this story is very much a Batman Gordon story, like Year One.
Absolutely, and I thought that was handled so well. I love just how antagonistic Gordon is towards Batman at the start of the game, to the point where he's almost like the main antagonist of the whole story at the start.
Yeah, almost, but
of course not the antagonist in that he's the one trying to blow up the city or anything, but the main personal antagonist getting in the way of Batman.
Honestly, what's kind of clever about that, Tiki, is that Gordon is representing the doubt that Batman is kind of facing in the game like that. Someone who initially is, he's not trusting Batman because Batman, deep down, even though he won't admit at the beginning of the game, he doesn't trust himself. He doesn't trust like his abilities. I mean, as the game goes on, he's doubting his abilities as he's facing these super criminals, and that's kind of what Gordon represents, and that force is kind of reminding him that, hey, you can't do this alone.
Sure,
like,
sure.
hey. And basically, the whole progression of Batman's arc in this game is that he's going from vigilante to hero. That's the arc of this game, and Gordon can't trust the vigilante, but he can trust the hero.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Well said. Well said.
Yeah. So I mean, like Batman is the cause of the, and right here, they hit the nail right upon the head here, where it's Batman. The constant question with Batman, the whole Gordon Batman dynamic is that Batman, he is a necessity, but at the same time, Batman is the root cause of a lot of this craziness going on in Gotham. In this case, very literally, I love how literal
it's almost kind of like a snake eating its own tail sort of situation.
Always, and here it's more literal than it's ever been. Where literally these 8 assassins are coming specifically for Batman, for this guy who shouldn't be on the streets, and that's what's fueling Gordon's kind of distrust and look, if you just go away for the night, don't come here, like look what you've done. I mean, yes, you've helped us, but you paint a giant target on your back, and you've lured terrorists to Gotham City.
Mm.
And you know what? A lot of it is now. Just with the Die Hard parallels, and we are building something, folks. Is that it does very much feel like was it Reginald Val Johnson? Is that the actor's name? The cop from Die Hard and
I'm not a Die Hard expert. I've seen it like once.
Well, Carl Winslow from
Die Hard trivia.
Carl Winslow from Family Matters. That's what everyone knows him as. I think it's Reginald Val Johnson. The point is that actor. It's kind of like the John McClane relationship with him, kind of through Batman and Gordon here.
Oh,
I mean, yeah, they're both fighting. They're both fighting a one-man war. I think that's interesting. They're both fighting a one-man war, but neither of them are getting anywhere separately. They need each other. I won't get too much into that, but you know what I mean.
Sure. Okay.
Also, I'm just thinking we just work her in there. Let's address the Barbara of it all, just through Gordon.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm actually glad you bring that up because Barbara has a small role in this game, but she's got kind of a pivotal role, and I really like it. I really like how she's incorporated in there.
Yeah, it's, Gordon's just trying to make Gotham safe for he and his daughter, and at the same time, that's also just kind of she's the kind of the blooming hope for for trusting Batman. It's basically like, hey, this guy's actually trying to make Gotham a better place. Which is exactly what you're trying to do. And again, I think she has a big role in kind of getting Gordon to that place of trust, at the very least, acceptance of Batman, acceptance of a hero, and of course, Batman's refusal to cross the line that he knows a bazillion of the corrupt cops in the GCPD would easily cross a line. So I mean, there's a lot of, again, it's not. I shouldn't say acceptance. I think by the end of the game, he trusts Batman, but he's not accepting Batman. He's not accepting that we need Batman, but he'll trust him.
I like that. Dragon, one simple thing with Barbara that I really liked, it's just kind of like a writing note, is I really love how, Barbara's talking to Batman, and then the cops come in, and they're asking, like, who she's talking to, and she's like, I was video chatting on my computer. Come on, what decade are you guys from? Like, I know, just to me, I really like how she just, like, thinks on her feet in that moment. You know what I mean?
And of course, we definitely infer the Oracle destiny of, like,
of course, yeah, exactly, right.
I mean, the context of it all is just really beautiful. Is that this young girl who's helping Batman years later will be his most valuable asset, and just doing the same thing she's doing now. But look how kind of earnest it is at the beginning there. Again, it's very much kind of she's the Robin for the game in a way.
Oh yeah.
The closest thing he has to a Robin here. That's kind of inventive that we start with her instead of starting with any of the other guys.
Mm-hmm. All right, Dragon. Let's get to the smiling man,
the clown prince of crime. So yes, Troy Baker does the voice, and Tiki is the same voice actor we had in Assault on Arkham. And again, that's kind of the progression there. So again, this is the beginning of it. Yeah. And Arkham, again, we're kind of, as we get closer to the Arkham games, it's like 2 steps before Mark Hamill. So, I like the continuity on that.
Right.
So what do you think of him?
Dragon, I like the performance. The storyline, like, I feel like the Joker kind of comes into the story a little bit too late.
Well, technically, he's there from the start, if you really want to split hairs.
I mean, that's true, yeah. I feel like the reveal happens a little too late because it's like, oh, okay, it is a Joker story. All right, we need to get caught up on this then. The one thing I will say though, Dragon, is that this game, my God, it's just a beautiful sort of like love at first sight type moment with that first Batman Joker save.
Oh yeah,
they capture that so well. Like Joker's reaction to it. Like that is sort of like the core of Joker's role in this game. I feel like.
I mean, honestly,
it's kind of realizing that he needs Batman in his life.
I mean, I really love that love at first sight story too, Tiki. And again, these are the elements I think justify. Like some people have kind of like the real harsh critics of the game have said, like, we don't really need this game at all. I mean, you're on a split hairs. I mean, technically they're right. We don't need this, but it's a lot of fun though. It's a lot of great dimension. It's kind of cool backstory you get with this game of like we have kind of the early years of Batman, but also we have like the beginning of the mad relationship between him and the Joker that we see. And I love that's the spine. That's the heart of the game is the Batman Joker dynamic.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And with Joker's arc, I like this. I like that. We see a Joker kind of coming from the. Again, we allude to the. Let's just say we allude to the killing Joker, but we allude to the Red Hood.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
And the sequence we'll get to. And oh boy, can't wait to get to that. But anyway, I like that. The idea is Joker is kind of thinking very much as kind of like just your average criminal, your average kind of anarchy. The Joker's initial plan, and you can track this, is that he's an anarchist who just wants Batman out of the way so he can wreak holiday havoc. That's all he wants to do is wreak holiday havoc and get a lot of money in the process. Money to pay the guys for the $50 million, but secondly, just I'll take some money while I'm at it.
I mean, he wants to go on a holiday shopping spree, Dragon. That's the thing.
And again, kind of the Die Hard thing of it all too. Like it's a misdirect. Like, hey, we're getting all the money, but hey, we're doing some terrorism on the side. So again, he plans to take over his plan to take over Gotham, just kind of wreak holiday havoc, is interrupted by, this Batman fascination. I love that he has that great line, like, "Oh, wouldn't life be easier if it was just if I only cared about you."
Right.
And of course, the love story begins, and now his life is just simplified to that Batman obsession. He is like to Joker, and I like that we show this in many ways. That the reason Joker's fascinated with Batman is that the guy's a walking joke to the Joker. Is that he saves bad people, which leads to more problems, and
absolutely,
that to him,
absolutely, it's that paradox that we were talking about.
Yeah, it's cosmically funny to him that again, this guy's going to go through so much for nothing. He's always going to go back to square one. Like, I'll try to kill myself. He'll stop me because he wants for my crimes. It's like, come on, it's hilarious. and that's and I just thought it's fascinating. And again, it's the lengths of which he'll go just to kind of try to break the guy. It's fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Briefly, I guess we should talk about Black Mask to kind of bridge the other guys.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about Black Mask. It's kind of like a clever misdirect.
I will say this:
it's going to be a Black Mask story at the beginning.
That's what the game was marketed as, by the way. We had some awesome. We should mention that. I should take you this, but also there was another. The Arkham games always have fantastic trailers. They always do, especially the ones after the first game. They always have these fantastic cinematic. Basically, they put the elbow grease into the trailer so they can get people, definitely pick up the game, even though the game's not going to look. Obviously, not every second of the game is going to look like a cinematic. Not going to look, like the high definition movie quality. But the Arkham Origins game had probably the best cinematics in all the Arkham series because they were done by Blur Studios, which of course is owned by the wonderful Tim Miller, a filmmaker of a little film called Deadpool. And Tim Miller. He did the thing that of course drew Kevin Smith very much in Tim Miller's camp there with the TV spot of like where we see Bruce Wayne. This thing I showed Tiki, Bruce Wayne kind of the evolution of Bruce Wayne from the murder of his parents to Batman. It's an amazing feat of animation. But also there's another like a full length kind of 4-minute trailer of just kind of giving you the premise of the game where. It's Batman versus Deathstroke, and it's an amazing fight sequence. And of course, you get Deadshot kind of interrupting. There's kind of this whole, Black Mask kind of gunning for Batman by hiring guys. Mm-hmm. And the point is, there was a lot of build around Black Mask based on that cool footage and everything. So all Black Mask was sold the heck out of for this game, and he is characterized like Black Mask is, especially from Under the Red Hood, which again is a good barometer of Black Mask. He's a very angry character.
Because I remember Black Mask was definitely one of the people that people were expecting Nolan to do as a villain. So I feel like in a way, this is kind of like the closest thing we have to getting what a Nolan Black Mask would have looked like.
That's true, and again, for what it's worth, and again, I know it's getting a little dicey these days. Let's just say they did in Justice League. They did allude to Black Mask.
Well, yes, Dragon, it is very dicey, but it kind of feeds into something. But
I'm just saying, they have like his companies in the back of Janus Chemical. That's what ties in the Black. That's his, that's where he's kind of getting his money from. So anyway, so Black Mask, yeah. So he's a very angry character. He's kind of turned to a plot device in his own game. He's like, hey, it's my game. I'm the big boss. Nah, not exactly Black Mask.
right.
And again, he's a Scarface type. He's kind of the Scarface of the Gotham mobsters. That's kind of usually how Black Mask is. It has been played, especially in Under the Red Hood. A lot of people like that version. I also like that version very much. So I like the idea. He's the wannabe super criminal mobster. He's trying to be the next Penguin in a way. He's just trying to be kind of like the next, like, hey, I got a gimmick. I wear a mask, but I'm just basically he's an Alberto Falcone but with a gimmick.
Almost kind of like a Kylo Ren in a way. Like, hey, look at me, I'm cool.
Yeah, but then again, he can't exactly wield a lightsaber.
Yeah. Okay, should we briefly mention Penguin, Dragon, now that you brought him up?
Yeah, sure, it's real quick. So, yeah, Penguin voiced by the wonderful Nolan North, who famously in the Arkham franchise has always been kind of like a Bob Hoskins type.
Right.
I've always loved that. I always thought in the first Arkham, in Arkham City, I was wondering, did they get Bob Hoskins somehow? But no, it's Nolan North doing an amazing job. Another Deadpool connect, by the way, Nolan North. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about it. It's just I like the thick accent and everything. It works well. Sure. It's honestly a different interpretation. I like the build-up visually of him because you see the umbrella and then you kind of see the slow pan up. And, even though he's a really short guy, they frame it like he's super intimidating. That all worked well for me.
You gotta remember, Penguin in Arkham City was like it was kind of a new step for the Penguin. We never have given like a Cockney accent or kind of like Paul Dini did a really great job with the construction of the Penguin in that game. It was a fresh take. It was kind of new. Kind of added like kind of the old sophisticated. It was a great mix of kind of like a guy who's trying to be a sophisticated. It was kind of a mix between the Batman Returns as well as the classic thing in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was a great inventive blend, the whole collecting motif, the fact that the Penguin was kind of the guy you go to who owns everything. He owns everything, and he's just the guy who's just kind of making Gotham his own. He basically, we did the No Man's Land thing with Penguin in Arkham City, where he's cornering the market on the valuable commodities in the closed-off prison of a city.
Mm.
Here, we basically, it feels like we're trying to cash in on just the Arkham City acclaim, like all the stuff we liked about him there, but it's earlier on, so let's just say he doesn't have the bottle for the monocle and jabbed into his face by Victor Zsasz, so we don't have that yet. He which of course always kind of informs kind of the fun stuff we have on Gotham, just the fact that Penguin and Victor Zsasz, let's just say they have a tumultuous relationship. The point is, like, we build on, he's the collector and the trade. He's not exactly like collecting quite yet, but he's the tradesman of Gotham. He brings in all the exports. He's kind of the big, he knows everything that happens in Gotham. Penguin's built like a lot. He has the networks. He has the connections, and he's trying to make crime a symbol of the upper class. That's what it seems to be. He's just like such a low class guy. He's womanizing the all his hench girls. He's like a real disgusting human being. But he thinks like crime is like the most sophisticated profession you can have in Gotham, and he commits to it. So that was kind of interesting. But at the end of the day, he's like a cowardly little woman that Batman can like throw around the room and beat up.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
A lot of fun.
All right. Let's see. So I guess now we should just kind of talk through the assassins.
Right. So we already talked about Killer Croc. I guess chronological as we can. So we start with Killer Croc, and basically Batman dispatches with him. Basically, that was like, we need 8 assassins. Let's just write Killer Croc off. Like, okay,
Well, as I said, I think Killer Croc's a good introductory segment because, like you said, it's sort of like, okay, the freaks are coming.
Sure. Yeah, man, there's a balance of, like, we got to theme the assassins to Batman instead of just being DC Universe kind of assassins. Right. So, but yeah, Killer Croc, it's like, some of them I could buy as assassins. Okay, like a little job. It's a job title.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're right. Killer Croc is a good foray into it. Then we have Electrocutioner.
Yeah, Electrocutioner Dragon. The one thing I have to say about this guy is that his weapon turned out to be very useful to Batman throughout the course of the game.
I think think Steve Blum, he's hilarious as Electrocutioner because he's such an overzealous. Basically, he's like KG Beast from Assault on Arkham in many ways. And just the Electrocutioner, who by the way is in Gotham. By the way, remember we have the Electrocutioner arc in season 1 with how Jim Gordon gets his job back.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is Tiki when we had Electrocutioner there, I was thinking of this.
Sure.
So the point is, like it's just he's overzealous and just Batman takes him out like one punch. It very much is kind of a Raiders of the Lost Ark type gag. It's like just Batman takes him out very, very easily, and Joker, just kills him as easily. But he's got a cool design. He's got a really cool design though.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Then, of course, let's have a big heavy here. One people are really excited for, and he actually got his own side quest, his own downloadable content because everyone loves this guy. And honestly, I think this game, in part, is another reason why this game and Arrow is a reason why we have Joe Manganiello playing Deathstroke.
Yeah, sure. I don't have a lot to say about Deathstroke because I have a feeling like a lot of his stuff is more in the side game, but he works. He works.
I don't think it's as much as you think, but I'm just saying this is the big spectacle of Deathstroke. It's just you can play as Deathstroke. Oh, buy more money.
Mm-hmm.
Deathstroke. But what we see of him here is just he's very much as someone as skilled as Batman, but he's an assassin. He's got his own interesting story, and again he's very formidable.
Yeah, like you said, Drake, I like the fact that he's sort of he's sort of kind of on his own different tangent from the rest of the assassins in the game.
Honestly, if I were to put money on it, I'd say he is Bane. Bane, notwithstanding, Deathstroke's the most professional. He's the most kind of trained. He's the the best money can buy in terms of assassin.
That sounds about right. Of course, that is kind of like Deathstroke's. That's his whole career path. So yeah.
And of course, basically, as people point out, again, the professional version of Deadpool, essentially, like the non-jokey, very professional version of Deadpool. You kind of
sure.
So it's essentially focuses on what we'd be getting with Joe Manganiello versus kind of the Affleck Batman or whoever we get as Batman in the DCEU, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying this is why this is what people are kind of judging their barometer by for what kind of Deathstroke they get.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's see. Copperhead.
So Copperhead, I don't really have much to say about the actual character, but I love the sequence that comes out of it. So I guess there's that. I mean, the actual character I really can't make heads or tails out of.
Kind of funny. I knew Copperhead from Justice League the Animated Series way back in the first season, and Copperhead it was a male character, and I like how we addressed that though, because this is something I read once when the game first came out. I was doing some research. Copperhead was a thing in the New 52 where Copperhead was an order of people taking on the moniker of Copperhead. So that's why she says, well, it says here that Copperhead was male. And that's the thing. We see a bunch of people that just kind of assume the name Copperhead. Now we have kind of a cool female contortionist version of Copperhead, which it's a cool revamp. I'll give you. And I like that we kind of address the history of it there. So that's not bad, and it's a way of kind of taking the new one, kind of bringing reference to the old, because Copperhead was always kind of a gag, like, hey, he's got a snake theme and he bit Batman once. It's Copperhead. But no. Copperhead was it was cool, and it did lead to a trippy sequence, which we'll get to.
Yeah, okay. Deadshot, honestly, to me, Deadshot's probably the most forgettable of the assassins.
To be fair, Tiki, and this might just be the version you watch, I'm just saying Deadshot, he had more of a side quest going on there. So Deadshot kind of got the shaft because, two of them got the shaft because of side quest.
I could see that, yeah.
So, I mean, of course, it's Deadshot. I'd direct you to the Assault on Arkham version of Deadshot. Of course, it was that's the Deadshot movie essentially, and that was great. But yeah, here nothing right home about. But I mean, hey, he's got the cool arm gun. So it's hey, Deadshot is just purely the shooting boss. That's what he is. But
exactly.
It's still Deadshot's always been kind of a cool concept. A character who basically could rival Deathstroke if we had more time dedicated to him. We want to simplify things. So. All right.
So Firefly was kind of neat to see, of course, because I'm familiar with the Gotham interpretation of it.
Yeah, and this is also cool. And we get more. We actually get more with Firefly as a side quest in Arkham Knight. So again, Firefly's just been a cameo. Hey, there's an Easter egg, a Firefly in Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. Hey, Garfield Lens, we know that name. And yeah, it was cool to see Firefly do stuff and be like a big set piece with the bridge sequence, and basically Bane kind of utilizing Firefly as a distraction for Batman. So
It's funny, Dragon, because the bridge sequence, I've heard criticisms about the gameplay of the bridge sequence because I've heard that it's really frustrating because there's like a million things you can use your bat grappling gun to grab onto, or you should be able to, but it's just that you can't.
I mean, my recollection is that it kind of takes you. You can get a little lost in there because it's basically you. Yeah, I can see you can get lost in there basically because you have like a big hole and they have to. If you forget where you're going, you're going to be lost for a couple minutes.
Right, but I just think like the idea of the sequence and kind of like where the action sequence takes place, like how it fits into the story is really well handled.
Sure. And again, Firefly just kind of the pyromaniac who can fly and kind of give Batman, some trouble there. So again, and I liked the battle, like the ending battle for Firefly. That was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Firefly's just kind of like a cool boss to have. That's just more of like just a cool boss in the game. Not much of an assassin, but and of course, lastly, I'm sorry, not last, second to last, because the last one's really important. Lady Shiva, real quick. Lady Shiva, she ties into Ra's al Ghul, ties in the League of Assassins. She is. They were really vague with her in the game, and that's a problem.
Yeah, a little bit.
and she like worse than Deadshot. Deadshot, at least we know Deadshot. He was in he's in Arkham City, so we get the gist of it. We've seen enough of Deadshot. But Lady Shiva, though, it's like one, like people who aren't diehard comic fans are not going to know who she is, and secondly, we imply backstory. There are 3 characters in this game we imply backstory for, and Lady Shiva, she's testing Batman for Ra's al Ghul. That's what she's doing in this game.
Okay.
But we don't really say that. We allude to she's testing him. Ooh, testing. Mm-hmm. That's a shame because Lady Shiva, a lot of people really love Lady Shiva, diehard comic fans. It's like, yeah, it's cool. Like she's a go-to assassin when you're like listing assassins. So she had to be in the game. So that's the thing. She had to be in there.
Gotcha.
Let's talk about the Bane.
Oh yes. And I don't have a ton to say about him. He's just represented, a really good kind of like final boss, kind of like a build up. I like the set piece with him and the Joker, kind of like the heart rate thing. That was clever.
Whereas the Bane is voiced by J.B. Blanc, who was in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
Mm-hmm.
He's Gus Fring's doctor. So, here's the thing. So Bane, I like that. Bane is a really good take on Bane. Honestly, it's a really good take on Bane. It's kind of an approximation between kind of comics Bane, a little bit of Rises in there. I like how he's smarter. We don't do him as the mindless brute. I like that's kind of a cool thing we retroactively kind of fixed from the Arkham games because that was always the complaint. So he's the big hulking brute in the Arkham games.
Sure.
Like he was smart in the comics. Basically, why can't we ever do like a Nightfall Bane? So here we're very consistent with that. Where we're very faithful with that. That he's the it's a point of pride from the take down Gotham's champion with Batman. Then most likely claim Gotham as his victory. Basically, I have to defeat Gotham's champion before I can claim Gotham. And the idea he's plotted and studied Batman, and he's discovered his secret. He's discovered his secret so he can break him mentally and as well as physically. And they imply something that's from the comic. They implied the whole. Bane says, "And when I defeat you, I will have peace." When he says that, there's a problem with Bane, though, is that they're implying like a big storyline from Bane's origin, where he imagined he has a fear of bats. He has a fear of bats, and he needs to defeat Batman to kind of conquer his fear, and that's kind of what they're alluding to there. But it's a little, there's nothing really to it in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I love that Bane's arc is that Bane's ultimate defeat what gets him to the hulking kind of brute of the Arkham games. I thought it was clever.
Clever, yeah.
Is I love that Bane's refusal to admit defeat. Like again, Batman stops him. He stops his heart, then he brings him back, and he can call it quits. He could end it there. Like out of respect, he just stop. But no, he can't admit defeat. So his consequence is that he uses the advanced Venom prototype, which is the Titan formula, which we know all about from the Arkham games. The Titan formula, which of course monsterizes the Joker, turns him into a mindless brute, which of course eliminates his memory of who Batman is. So I thought that was a way of having your cake and eating it too for Nightfall. A lot of people were.
It's almost kind of like a light retcon that works.
Yeah, I like it. Some people say he should have broken Batman's back, but of course I would say it kind of
I don't think so because I mean it is a prequel. You don't want to go that far with it.
that's what I'm saying, because you kind of like that's a whole nother game, right?
Yeah.
That's another story to do. So a lot of people say you wasted the back break by, but
I
like
mean,
he,
honestly, if the whole game was centered around Bane, then I could see it.
sure.
But since Bane is sort of like just the main muscle and it's not really Bane's story,
I do like that Bane has a I do like that Bane and Joker are kind of the main bad guys, though. I like that Bane. It's like it's a co-bad guy ship in a way.
right? But I mean, it's much more Joker's story, though.
Well, I mean, I like that Bane at least has some intelligence. That's what's one of my. I mean, I like that we're kind of we're being faithful to Bane, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so yeah. Let's see. Anything else major we should?
I mean,
Oh
there's
yes.
Harley, but I feel like Harley kind of works herself. The major Harley stuff is in one of my favorite moments. So
Okay, we'll go there with Harley. Just let me give some shout outs and we'll move on.
okay.
So, of course, we have Mad Hatter played by Peter Magnical, and of course that's always like if we ever do live action, I've always would love Peter Magnical.
I will say that voice actor, he was very unnerving. It was a very unnerving performance,
and he could do him in live action. Quite honestly, if you've ever seen
yeah.
Peter Magnical, he's always be my, of course, aside from our diehard kind of fan. We'd love to see Patrick Fabian play. That's a personal. That's an insight.
Oh God.
But no, seriously.
Yeah, because that's like an in-joke wrapped in an enigma. Is that casting?
Sure, but speaking of Enigma, so the Mad Hatter, we have the Mad Hatter. I like how the side stories are worked in there with the Mad Hatter. And by the way, I'm dying to know how you felt about this because I'm sure I think it was in the version you saw. The a really haunting bit for me was the Alice thing at the end. Where basically
Batman, that got to me too, for sure.
So Batman saves the girl, and the idea of Mad Hatter kidnaps the girl, kind of dresses her like Alice, and he's done. We don't know what unspeakable things he's done to this poor girl, and that's always the balance I like to strike with the Mad Hatter. Way back when we did that prequel Batman pitch, I always pitched like a scene with the Mad Hatter implying horrible stuff he's done to Alice.
Right.
But never saying one way or another what happened. And basically, she has because it stems from this bit here where Batman says you're going to be okay. No, I'm not. And it's like, oh god, it's so horrifying.
And Dragon, I'm glad you bring that up because I feel like it speaks to sort of one of the themes of the game, which is Batman feeling helpless about the victims.
Yeah.
Of course, the bank teller, which I'll get into, being a main symbol of the story. I feel like.
Sure. And of course, Enigma has a good backstory here. Basically, we do the Michael Emerson. We do kind of the closest thing we're ever going to get to your thing, Tiki. You love Michael Emerson, and you'd love to see him play the Riddler.
Absolutely.
And essentially, they did an Emerson take on Riddler here, where the idea is, he's a hacker. He was part of cyber crimes for the GCPD, and he just kind of spun off. Basically, the corruption within the GCPD inspired him to take down corruption. So he kind of very much like Batman. He's a guy fighting corruption. He equated himself to Batman as like a cyber vigilante.
Uh-huh.
So I thought it was kind of a cool take on it. Basically, draw out the whole Riddler reveal, but still, it's a nice kind of backstory for him. I thought.
Yeah. Okay. Favorite moments. Who has the first one chronologically out of the two of us, Dragon?
I guess me.
Okay, go ahead then.
All right. So I love the big reveal of the Joker. Well, wait a minute, Tigger. We have Naughty and Nice.
Oh God, I'm sorry. I always get the favorite moments of Naughty and Nice mixed up. My bad.
All right, so I guess we want to start with Naughty or Nice.
Dragon, let me address a nitpick I had with you because you kind of listed it as a positive, but for me, kind of like the Detective Vision scan thing. I almost feel like the game used that as a narrative crutch because it was basically Batman being like, okay, I'm going to scan the surrounding area and then just give you the exposition of exactly what went down based on the scan. I don't know. How do you feel about that, Dragon? Because I'm sure like using it in the game, it feels like it's a gameplay mechanic that worked its way into the story and watching it the way I watched it with the cutscenes and everything. I feel like if I was actually playing the game, it would work better. But as it stood, it felt a little bit clunky to me.
I'm saying in context, I think it works a lot better because
I can see that. Yeah.
I'm just saying Detective Vision was always like you had to watch the game in X-ray vision and then Arkham Asylum and then Arkham City. It was like, okay, well, we're slowly getting, basically as the games went on, we'd slowly get more and more involved in the detective work. So basically, it went from X-ray to like, okay, you're putting some pieces together, but you can like follow like a light trail. And now you can review the footage like you were a forensics guy. And basically, by the time we get to Arkham Knight, you can actually proactively put the scene together. You can put you can basically do the little rewind thing, but you proactively seek out the evidence and stuff. So it kept getting better and better as it went on. And this was like, when it came out, it was a bigger thing.
Okay.
Then again, I liked it. Again, it's kind of showing off Batman's detective skills, and I liked it as kind of it felt kind of noir, as like when the scenes recreated themselves. I don't know, I kind of liked it.
Yeah. I will say, like, again, I'm honestly kind of like all the naughty stuff I have to say about it kind of like stems back to like the criticisms I see about it as a game. And in that regard, I like really the story, especially with the 8 assassins and everything, like, I think the character stuff revolving around the story is great, especially the Batman and Gordon stuff, the Batman Alfred stuff, and the Batman Joker stuff. That's all really great, Dragon. Those are 3 like really good thorough lines, with the character dynamics. I will say the actual story, like if you break down the actual plot of the game, is a little bit thin.
I don't think that's a problem though.
It's not necessarily a problem. It's what was I gonna say? It was more so, I guess, in terms of a video game, I could see playing a video game. It's like, oh, okay, we got these 8 bosses we need to fight, and I could see how it wouldn't be as engaging as as something like Arkham Asylum with a claustrophobic feel, or something like Arkham City with the open world feel. Like basically, Dragon, I could see how structurally it's a little bit of a disappointment.
Well, let's see. Let me run through a few of my naughties here.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, of course, Black Mask gets shafted with the reveal. He does, and again, being marketed on the game, again, I was hoping to see like some cool Black Mask stuff. Again, Black Mask is always talked up, and again, we're dying to see more Black Mask. And as you said, Tiki, people are dying to see like the Nolan, what the next villain would be for the Nolan film. So Black Mask has always been a contender, and like again, what seems like we're getting there. Like, oh man, fine, we're doing some Black Mask stuff. Oh goody, and then. Nope, not so much. And it's like, yeah, it's a cool reveal, but darn, why we got to shaft Black Mask?
Right.
And like we've teased Black Mask a few times, and like in Arkham City, like that we have a set place that ties in the Black Mask, but Black Mask not necessarily the guy involved.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's see. So a big one for me, we really waste Calendar Man. Like, of course, like you mean to tell me Calendar Man is like he's an Easter egg in Arkham City, yet here, a holiday-based story. Nothing. We just mentioned it on top of it. Right. It's like, hey, remember Long Halloween? We got Calendar Man. That's about it. It's like I was like, okay. When that moment happened at the beginning, it's like, okay, we're gonna get like a little Calendar Man like side story or Easter egg or something. Maybe he factors in the story. I don't know. That'd be cool. But nope. Just hey, a little shout out for Calendar Man. Anyway, let's see. Again, we're missing backstory. Like the idea, when I say missing backstory, I mean like Batman has a reference that he has history with these guys, which of course that's even predating the prequels. So we don't. What I'm saying is we need throwaway lines. We need some throwaway dialogue with these 3 characters, with Batman and Bane, Shiva and Deathstroke.
Yeah, I agree.
Because Batman knows Deathstroke by name, and again, they have like a really cool like Deathstroke respects the heck out of Batman, but he's
right. And it's like if it's the first year that Batman's starting out, like how exactly did that get established?
Well, it's the second year, so I mean, something had to happen, like I guess in that first year. But again, he might know he's Bruce Wayne. You don't know.
Right.
Lady Shiva. Again, the idea is he knows the name Lady Shiva, and from what I hear, there is like some downloadable content about Bruce training, so that ties into some Shiva stuff. And the point is, I need that in the game a little bit. Like some throwaway dialogue. And Bane's the most important one, if I'm being honest. And Bane, that's where people are getting all their Nightfall rights from. That's where it's really stemming from. Tiki, the idea that. Did Nightfall happen? Did it not happen? Because he always talks about breaking Batman. Did he actually break him or not? And again, this game, we never see him break him. So, continuity-wise, he never broke Batman, I guess. So the point is, it's just that's the first.
I mean, the breaking Batman thing, like logically to me, just would have happened between this and Arkham Asylum, right?
Well, sure. Well, sure, but then of course, like people are saying, like, but then he would have broken him as like the dumb brute instead of like the smart Bane, they suppose. The point is, like, it's like no one could ever win with kind of.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a no-win situation. Again, we could have used Falcone more. Basically, it's like a lot of stuff I was like we could have used this more.
I will agree with that, Dragon. I felt like I felt like there could have been a little bit more of a mobster presence. I mean, maybe that's just because there was so much of a focus on the mob in the Long Halloween. I kind of miss that element of the story.
Like we have our those are the things that really bug me too. The Long Halloween throwaway lines. Like again, we have Calendar Man. We have
Alberto Falcone.
Alberto Falcone, and again we have Loeb, and we have the corrupt cops.
Right.
Like all that stuff. Yeah. Like we have some really deep cuts to year one too. Like remember we have Commissioner Loeb, and we have Brandon. Now Brandon was the trigger happy SWAT guy, and he was in year one. He was
Right, sure.
Gordon's antagonist. Everyone but Flash was there essentially. Let's see. So let's at the nice stuff. So I really liked. So
visually, I think the cutscenes look fantastic.
I'll say this: what I said from day one with this game. The thing I'm most in love with this game, I think you'd agree with me. I love the cinematic direction. So
absolutely.
As much as I love the Arkham games, this one, when it came out at the time, was like, oh my god! Like from the beginning just starts like you're in the middle, like the beginning of a movie where you're in the Batcave, and all these really well composed shots of the bats, and like the picture of the Wayne family and the reflection of the serving trays. Like there's a great cinematic command of story through the cutscenes and just through the game whole. Like even when the action sequence, like that's the thing you got to give the gameplay that we don't really. Again, this kind of lays the pipe for when we get to Arkham Knight is that. Basically, the gameplay you can play as the story's unfolding, like as the cutscenes unfold, you can kind of interact with. So again, it's like making it more kind of making a little bit more cinematic. So again, on the whole too as well. My one concern going into this game was that it wouldn't feel like an Arkham game because it was done by Warner Bros. Montreal instead. But no, all the essential mechanics again didn't impress like people were hoping for. But it just it was true to the Arkham. Like I was worrying about, oh man, there's gonna be different controls. I won't be able to do the stuff I did in the other game. But no, it's like slipping into a well-worn glove. It's like maybe one thing was off, but it was like it's the same thing.
Right.
I love the premise. I love the premise ever since it was announced. Just again, this 24. I think it was the most justified of all the 24-hour things. Honestly, it's like, hey, Dead by Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sold. It's a very exploratory Gotham, which again, as every game kind of allows us to explore Gotham more. This is like a bigger Gotham in terms of scope, and of course, Knight's kind of the biggest form of Gotham.
Now you see, Dragon, that might be one of the things I didn't really get a sense of just watching the cutscenes.
Right, again, that's because in gameplay you'd experience.
Of course.
I thought the side missions were well integrated. The assassin element was cool. However, I do feel a bit of naughty here. I think. A few of our assassins got the shaft, like Shiva and Deadshot. They were kind of side missions essentially. Everyone else I thought was worked really well into the main plot. Firefly got some time, Electrocutioner, Deathstroke, and they all were worked into the plot somehow.
Right.
I love how Alfred factors in a big way in the plot. Like of course we have our Breaking Bad homage with Alfred. Tell me you like that, T. Tom Dine. What did you think of that? Just the whole, it was one of your big favorite speeches for Breaking Bad was kind of homage to the game.
I mean, I don't want to say it was a direct pull from Breaking Bad, but yeah, it was nice.
I was saying, T, that scene starts, and especially the rendering on Batman looks very goatee-esque.
Oh, God.
I'm not the guy. I'm just saying that has been said by a lot of people.
All right.
You could type in Arkham Origins Breaking Bad. That scene.
Okay. I believe you.
Let's see. So again, the Batman Gordon focus. The arc there. It's nice.
I think just in general, I feel like the story is Batman's connection to people, right?
Yes.
Like how Batman influences various people in his life, both positively and negatively.
Well, it didn't impress me like some of his other work. Christopher Drake did the score for this game, and I thought with the Christmas element added to the music here and there, I thought Christopher Drake did an excellent job. He scored Dark Knight Returns, and of course, I loved his score for Dark Knight Returns so much. So I mean, it was kind of cool. Like when I heard him announced back in the day, like, hey, it's him. Of course, I liked the new detective mode. I liked it. And of course, it got better over time. And just overall, the last thing I'll say is the design work and the prequel setting, just overall, is kind of that year 2 Batman. I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
All right, so that's all I got for 90. Nice. Oh, yes, moments.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, moments. Big one right off the start. I love Joker meeting Batman. Just the big dramatic scene there. Of course, we reveal that, oh my God, Black Mask is the Joker. And, most people are mixed on just kind of that with Shaft and Black Mask and that, but regardless. It's just it's a great starting point. And of course, Joker kind of fantasizing like, oh boy, how simple life would be if I only had you to worry about. I just need you out of the way. And of course, just the intensity and the scene, the lighting, kind of the ambulance. The ambulance lighting kind of adding kind of this blinking red and blue lights. Again, we're adding with the green, we're adding lights of Christmas. We have just Joker's being really brutal as he's beating Black Mask for kind of ruining his bit, and then of course just the it feels so Die Hard with the Christmas angle here. It's a great kind of first meet between these two titans here. He's shooting Batman in the armor plating, and and of course as Tiki's going to kind of really hammer on this, is what reason I have to go first here, especially is that I love the rendering and everything about this poor woman who's been this poor bank teller.
Dragon, honestly, when she first showed up, I thought she was like an early Harley Quinn.
I mean,
and it's like she's got like this eerily similar quality to her, like not in the because of course like she's under the the laughing serum or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, Joker toxin. I love how the Joker toxin's conveyed here, where you can see like this poor woman. She's basically the idea is when your adrenaline spikes, like when your heartbeat rises, you're going to laugh more, and it's going to be less oxygen. The point is, it's like she's in a dangerous position there where she's just laughing. It's like, oh God, that's exactly how it works. He's like saying, he's making jokes, and like those guys are putting on their mask, and she's laughing at him, and like her fear is turning into laughter. The point is that the whole sequence, and of course, is that great bill with Troy Baker as the Joker saying, "Do you hear that sound, Bats? It's like 8 tiny little reindeer."
Of course, like naturally, I feel like the Joker has the best Christmas lines in the game. Naturally.
It does, and I also really loved. I like that kind of tracks in Assault on Arkham because he's whistling, jingle bells. Joker loves Christmas.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And of course, Christmas with the Joker. So there's obviously a lot of history with Joker and Christmas, and of course, I'm always a sucker for this. This is why I put into so many of our Christmas in July pitches, by the way, because I've always loved how Carol of the Bells was worked into the scene.
yeah, I can see
it's like the big build of like 8 tiny reindeer. You hear like kind of little sounds kind of ramping up with like the bombs about to go off. I just love Batman saving that bank teller, and then of course after he saves her, he awakens and he sees the dead smiling corpse in front of him. That Batman was too late. Oh my God, I love that scene. Should I go through the rest of mine? You want to kind of trade?
Yeah, you just go through all of them, then I'll go through all of mine.
Okay, let's see. I love Batman saving Alfred, of course. Like honestly, Alfred's death is startling. And of course,
I gotta say, like because it's one of those weird things. Like you mentioned, like Arkham Asylum, Alfred's not in it, and it'd been a while. Like I'm more familiar with Arkham Asylum than I am with Arkham City, and so it'd been a while since I watched a Let's Play of Arkham City, and of course, Alfred's not physically in Arkham City, so it took me aback a little bit because I was like, wait a minute, is Alfred dead in the Arkham timeline? Like, I genuinely didn't know,
Yeah, I mean, it's a startling death, and again, the fact
it's played well because even as a game that markets itself on a prequel, for people who, for people like me who might not be as familiar, who may have watched Let's Plays of the original games, but might not have, actually played them, it does play as like, okay, this could genuinely be the end of Alfred here.
Yes, and again, I love Alfred's last words. So those are the things that's the thing that fascinates me. And again, the cinematic quality of the game shines through in these moments here. Where, like, we cut to Bruce as we mirror the shot where he's dead at the Wayne's feet. We cut from Alfred dead at his feet to again then the Waynes. We kind of intercut between all like the traumatic memories of loss that Bruce has suffered here. But Alfred's great last line that he has as he dies is, "Don't add me to the weight you carry." Oh my God, that's a beautiful line.
Oh yeah.
Again, Alfred trying to help him on the way out there, and of course, Bruce can't accept this, and then of course he basically kind of paddles him to he electrifies.
I'm curious, how much do those electricity gloves factor into the actual gameplay?
Well, you can fight people. You can like shock people when you punch them. You can use them. They're like tasers.
Like I'm curious. Like, are there like puzzles in the game, or like you have to like power on certain things using the gloves?
I think so. Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
The point is, is as he's jolting him back to life, there's kind of restarting his heart with the device, and of course the restarting the heart idea, of course, comes back in a big way, and it's a great moment of I love when Batman saves people, as you told, like the bank teller moment, just him saving Alfred. There's like the fist pumping, like, yes, we saved him. Oh my god, thank goodness. It's a beautiful little moment. Again, Bruce saying life's going to take more members of the last bit of family that Bruce has. Again, this is all about the connections that Bruce forges. It's like, Gotham was taking one of those away from him. He's just like, no, I'm taking it back. I guess real quick, I love the moment where Bruce, where Batman and Gordon had one of their big first meetings, where basically Batman breaks into the GCPD, and on his way out, he kind of bumps into Gordon, and he quickly kind of disarms Gordon, kind of puts his arm in a locker, locks his arm into a hold or something, and then it's a great kind of it's a very year one scene of these two guys not being on the same page, but of course not being each other's enemy. Where I'm not your enemy. He was telling Gordon, I'm not your enemy. And what I love most about this scene is just as that conversation is going on, we're earning Gotham's respect. And why am I here? Is that when the trigger happy SWAT guy Brendan and company comes in, we establish a plot line that they're willing to drill through Gordon if they have to get this bounty, get this $50 million. They're willing to turn on Gordon, and I like that we know this through Batman's perspective. They have their guns trained on Batman, like they're waiting for Batman to move, and Gordon's in the middle, holding his hands, okay, no one fire, no one move. Again, he's trying to bring Batman in peacefully here, and the fact that we know Gordon might be a goner in this scene, Batman, he knows these guys are trigger happy. He drops the bomb, and I love that he takes the moment to save Gordon. He puts him against the side of the wall as the guns are going off. So, I love that moment of him saving Gordon just to show that that he's a good guy.
Oh yeah.
Lastly, real quick, I love the chapel fight at the end with Batman and Joker. Is the big event we build to. It's in a kind of this almost like a religious context with it being in the Blackgate prison church. It's really well done. Again, it has that cinematic quality applied to it. It has a great color scheme with kind of the stained glass, because this is kind of like the christening of Gotham's madness, of kind of the Batman Joker dynamic. It's going to shape Gotham for years to come. So it is a huge historic moment in Gotham's history. These two guys reaching basically this is the origin of the dance here of Batman will not kill the Joker as much as Joker will provoke him. And then of course the end capper is that I just love the whole ending there, where Gordon respects Batman because all of his men would have just shot the Joker right there, and of course he still has to take Batman in, but now he's kind of rethinking it once he's having that conversation with Barbara. But I love that. I just love how everything comes together by the end. It's such a wonderful ending of Joker being wheeled down the hallway in the way that we recognize from the game, of him being wheeled down the hallway. Harley Quinn Harley Quinzel kind of into kind of chuckling at him underneath it all as he says, "Stopped his heart. This is going to be fun, Batsy." That's such a great ending to go out on. So I just love that ending very much. So.
Okie dokie then. So let's see. I guess chronologically, Dragon, my first one would be the poison.
Yeah, Cuphead, the Cuphead poison. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, like I said, Dragon, this really bounces off of the bank teller. And it's just kind of like this, it's this crazy midway point in the story where, Batman's poisoned, and it's, it's kind of like the classic James Bondian thing where it's like, oh, you see, Batman, I've poisoned you and only I have the antidote. But of course, Dragon, the reason why I love this moment so much is just the stylistic nature of it. Because of course the fear talk, I gotta say, Dragon, the fear toxin moments from Arkham Asylum, all those fear toxin segments, that was what sold me on this entire franchise, is the fact that you could have a game set in Arkham Asylum, but through the use of hallucinations, you could go outside of that location in crazy and interesting ways. And so, while Copperhead might not be the best villain and one of the more disposable of them, I feel like the sequence itself is great, and especially the haunting note of the bank teller being like, "You could have saved me, Batman. You could have saved me." Just really dark stuff, and just the way that Batman's kind of walking around this twisted hallway. I like the visual of that. Just I don't know. It really did it for me. And like I said, it very much called to mind the fear toxin segments of Arkham Asylum in a good way. And Dragon, the next one, I basically got to talk about because it's my birthday. You really wanted to talk about it, but One Bad Day. My God. Dragon, I'm curious. I'm sure you do play as the Joker, right, during the segment?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Oh my God, Dragon. This to me, like, it might not be the most connected to the actual storyline. Like, it comes in a little late, but my God, it's almost like a short film. It's freaking beautiful.
Well, again, this is Joker realizing that he's fallen in love with Batman.
Of course. Oh God, it's so many things to say about this. I'm going to try and condense it as good as I can. But of course, the crux of it is it's this weird amalgamation of, like it's like the black, the Red Hood era of the Joker, kind of like that origin story and the feats and everything. And of course, he's talking to Harley Quinn, and Harley Quinn is kind of like, you get the sense that Harley Quinn is like captivated by this guy, and she thinks that he's talking about him, or he's talking about her, I should say.
It's a lot. Basically, it's the Batman Joker kind of love affair. It's Harley Quinn. Sorry, I was trying to think at best how to describe that. There, it's a love forged between Joker and Harley through Joker's love for Batman. It's fascinating.
And one of the beats that's just haunting to me is the fact that Joker, from the get-go, as soon as he sees just a little bit of sympathy on Harley's part, just a little bit of sympathy, he takes that and he runs with it, and he just ruins this girl's life, because we know the road that this is going down. And so he's like, oh, okay, this girl is, she's sympathetic to the mentally ill. I'm going to use that, and I'm just going to, it's kind of like the classic, like, give him an inch, he'll take a mile.
The scary thing is just how casually he does it, too, because again,
right.
Throughout the scene, he's not paying her any mind because he's just talking about Batman. And again, that's what, and
it's almost like he needs to get this Batman therapy stuff out there, but him kind of manipulating Harley Quinn in the process, kind of like creating this alter ego, like sort of like, lackey for him. It's almost kind of like an added bonus of the therapy session, right?
Yeah, and again, it's like almost not even intentional there, because he's just he's rolling with it, or he's just that good. It's like basically the love for Batman she's misinterpreting as love for her, along with the whole one bad day philosophy, because essentially he just pulls the plan with Jim Gordon on her, and it works for her.
And of course, I love how the one bad day thing, it ties into, the moment of fate and everything like that. And one moment changes everything, goes directly back to the Killing Joke. Just, it's
the
so
lines
well
about
executed.
memory are pulled right from the Killing Joke. But the whole thing, the whole really clever thing they reach, instead of saying multiple choice, what they do is it's through Joker's warped perspective that we don't know how much of it is actual or not. So yeah, it's all, again, like, it's him in a comedy club. It could be him as a failed stand-up comedian, or just him as just like a wacky setting. And we have like homages to Clockwork Orange within the sequence. That's he's beating people up to Beethoven. It's a fascinating little sequence. And of course, the demon version of Batman, just kind of, honestly, we know what it kind of looks like. It's not even a demon version of Batman. It's Batman without the man in there. So it's all just bat creatures, all the costumes.
What it reminds me of? It reminds me of like the fear toxin Batman from Batman Begins.
A little bit, and you're not wrong. But I like about it more is, like, again, there's no demon features of it. It's just the fact that it's the man is stripped away. So basically, Batman, and this is what I believe Joker would see with Batman. It's just the costume. It's just the iconography. You have the bat symbol, and you have the mask, and the lit up eyes, and the cape. That's all he is. He's not like, again, he's not a realistic depiction of Batman. It's the suit. He is seeing the suit, which is all he cares about. He doesn't care about the man. He cares about the icon. That's all. It's such a well done sequence.
Yeah, it really floored me. I definitely think it's like, for me, I'm not sure how it, of course, I, not having played the game, I'm not sure if it's like the centerpiece of the game, but for me, it was definitely the centerpiece of the story. And of course, Dragon, the last bit I want to hit on a much more simple thing. Like, basically, the One Bad Day and the Copperhead thing were both kind of like, takes on the whole Arkham Asylum fear toxin formula, where you're doing all these really surreal, trippy things with the landscape and everything. But the Gordon Alliance scene, Dragon, that's just a nice character beat. That's just a really nice, like, all right, like they did it right. And of course, like you said, it's foreshadowed very well with Alfred, kind of giving the advice of, basically trying to forge alliances with people. And what I like about it, Dragon, is I feel like this moment between Gordon and Batman happens in just the right place in the story. It's, it's like right after a big action set piece that kind of transitions us into the third act. It's just, I love how well played it is because, of course, as I've said, Gordon has been very antagonistic towards Batman the whole game, but at this point they're kind of acknowledging their differences, and they're also acknowledging that they need each other. It's very simple. It's just like, hey, like Batman's just like, I don't usually take orders from cops, and Gordon's like, I don't usually take orders from wanted men, but I got to admit, we made a good team. And of course, Dragon, he does the bat exit, which I'm sure you love. Gordon's first taste of the bat exit, that was all very good. The setting on the bridge and everything. Just like I said, overall, a very simple moment, but it's one that I feel like kind of encapsulates the Gordon Batman dynamic quite well.
All
right, that's it. So, one last question, Dragon. How's it hold up, specifically as a Christmas special?
Well, let's see. So it feels like, again, very much, I mean, I borrowed this example a lot throughout this, but again, I think it holds true. It feels like a Batman take on Die Hard that utilizes Gotham instead of Nakatomi Towers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's kind of, again, it fits exactly what we've been looking for here. So looking at it in the context of I Can't Believe It's Christmas, it fits that moniker precisely. I mean, it's a historic event. It's kind of a biblical birth. Like, if you look at Christmas that way, it is a biblical birth of
right.
Gotham. It's the birth of Arkham, quite literally, as we see. There was no Arkham Asylum was an ancient facility that was just kind of boarded up. And honestly, it's a serendipity here. And again, another reason we're kind of looking at Arkham Origins as well is that if you look at the Gotham TV show, Gotham started out, Arkham was an abandoned facility that was reopened at a certain point. And that's kind of what we have here. But after all the chaos, they need somewhere to put these loonies outside of Blackgate, a prison they could easily get into, and just kind of a structure they need to house all the extra crazy. So it's kind of the literal birth of Arkham. It's the birth of kind of a dark era in Gotham. In terms of the Christmas elements accentuate kind of the visuals of this a lot. So we have snow, we have lights, we have presents. Again, like all the bombs are presents, and a partridge in a pear tree. Yes, again, I love that sequence. I love that. My favorite shot of the whole thing, honestly, is when, right after that moment, after Joker blows up a building. I love that's how he can kind of bully Bane into doing what he wants, because he'll blow up the building. I don't know if you caught this, Tiki. When Bane just says he wants to finish up Batman, that was a great kind of action sequence, by the way, where he goes in the elevators, kind of pulls Batman down. No, you can't sneak from me. Just tosses him around.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to finish off Batman, but Joker says, we had a deal. I see. Basically, they're in the royal building, and he's like tapping the top of it, like, I'll blow us all up right now if you don't do what I say. Crazy. But my favorite shot is when after he blows up the construction site, Batman thinks it's full of people. He grabs him, he throws him up there. How many lives did you just take? And I have a statue of that came with the game, of him holding him up like that. I just love that shot.
Nice.
So, we have it accentuates the images, and again, it's a lot of mix of Christmas with the Joker. So it's, it is a game version of Christmas with the Joker almost. It's kind of fun that way.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, it's like a religious awakening. I think it's a good Christmas game.
Yeah, Dragon, I actually think this might be a step above something like Die Hard, just because I feel like whereas Die Hard mostly uses the setting of Christmas, right?
Yeah.
I feel like this kind of has a more thematic tie to Christmas, especially with the family and everything like that. It kind of like both the positive and negative elements of Christmas and the holiday season, kind of like it vaguely works in kind of like the cynical element of the commercialism of Christmas, mostly in just how the Joker's kind of embracing it. But like I said, it's mostly like I really like these dark and harrowing moments with Batman. And as you said, I think religious birth, Dragon, that's a perfect way to put it. I really like that. That's a good, like put that on a poster for this, But no, I mean, I really do think that this, I will say, I wish there was a little bit more Christmas iconography within the game. Like, I wish we would have seen a little bit more like Christmas trees and lights and stuff like that as you actually go through the city again. It might be in the gameplay more than it is.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely Christmas decorations and snow all over the place.
Okay,
I mean,
well, yeah, that maybe I guess it should have just been incorporated more into the cutscenes, I guess.
But honestly, I mean, I'll tell you that again. I think a lot of that would have been. I think the main Christmas push we could have had again would have been with Calendar Man. But again, Calendar Man would have been the easiest way to get Christmas in there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, as it stands, I think it did hold up quite well. I will say this, Dragon. I think as a narrative, it held up better than I was expecting it to. So, I'm pretty satisfied with this.
All
right, take us out.
Well, kids, time to dash away. Well, actually, let me try it again. Well, kids, time to dash away, dash away, dash away all. But as we wave goodbye, don't you cry. We'll be back again next time.
With even more seasonal shenanigans.
La 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 la.